I stand today in support of President Trump and against this sham impeachment proceeding with literally 1 week, 7 days remaining in his term. This is merely the culmination of a 4-year effort to overturn the will of the people and the results of the 2016 election. This is simply a political action intended to tarnish the legacy of a highly successful president who led us to an incredible economy, energy independence, reduction of taxes for millions, regulatory relief for businesses, renewed peace in the Middle East, and stronger border security. This action will only serve to further offend the 75 million people who voted for President Trump and further deepen the division within our nation as we try to move forward with a peaceful transition of power. However, the Democrat majority has determined he's already guilty and there's no need of a trial, and they therefore move forward quickly with this phony impeachment charge. Today, I join my Republican colleagues in standing against this further effort to divide our nation. Thank you. Now I yield back.
And yields back. The gentleman from Ohio wishes to reserve. The gentleman from New York is recognized.
Madam Speaker, I now yield 30 seconds to the distinguished gentleman from Texas, Mr. Cuellar.
The gentleman from Texas is recognized for 30 seconds.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise in support of the impeachment. It's very simple. What we saw on January 6th was a person, the President of the United States, incite a crowd to come and attack the Capitol. We have to make sure that we stand up for democracy. If we don't do this, then what are we going to stand for? We stand for democracy, we stand for American values, and I stand for the impeachment of Donald Trump. I yield back the balance of my time.
The gentleman yields back the balance of his time. The gentleman from New York reserves. The gentleman from Ohio is recognized.
Madam Speaker, we reserve.
The gentleman from Ohio wishes to reserve. The gentleman from New York.
Madam Speaker, I now yield 30 seconds to the distinguished gentlelady from Pennsylvania, Ms. Scanlon.
The gentlewoman from Pennsylvania is recognized for 30 seconds.
On January 6th, President Trump launched an attack against the United States Capitol. I, too, urge my colleagues to unite, but to unite in love of country and to hold this president accountable. What unites our country is respect for the rule of law. Without accountability for those who would shatter the rule of law by overturning a presidential election, we cannot take seriously the cries of being a united people. This president remains a serious threat to our country and must be held accountable.
The gentlewoman's time has expired. The gentleman from New York reserves. The gentleman from Ohio is recognized, and he chooses to reserve. The gentleman from New York is recognized.
Madam Speaker, I now yield 30 seconds to the distinguished gentleman from Georgia, Mr. Scott.
The gentleman from Georgia is recognized for 30 seconds.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, let me make everybody aware that on those just sun-bleached bones of history of many great nations are written those pathetic words, too late. They moved too late to save their great nations. Let us not this day move too late to save our great nation.
The gentleman's time's expired. The gentleman from New York wishes to reserve. The gentleman from Ohio is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would yield 1 minute to the gentleman from South Carolina, Mr. Norman.
The gentleman from South Carolina is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today for 2 reasons. One, to voice my strong opposition for the impeachment of this president with 7 days left. I also want to voice my support for the strong police department. Many of you want to defund. Where was your cries to defund when you were leaving this office, this very room, on the 6th? Height of hypocrisy. I yield back.
Members are kindly reminded to remind remarks to the